Welcome back. In our previous episode, we started our journey into the life of one of the most famous characters in the history of epics all around the world, Achilles. Today, we will continue from where we left off, exploring the deep bonds he forged in his youth and the unexpected conflicting paths that ultimately led him to his great destiny. On Mount Pelion, Achilles remained as a ward of Chiron until his late childhood, when he was taken back to his father's court to learn statesmanship. When he returns to his father's court, one of the most prominent characters of Achilles' story enters the picture: Patroclus. Because of the modern Hollywood adaptation Troy, Patroclus is perceived by people as a naive, younger cousin. However, ancient Greek sources tell a far more complex and emotionally heavy story. Patroclus was actually the older of the two, and his arrival at the court of Phthia was born out of a sudden childhood tragedy. We know of this from the Iliad, Book 23, as translated by Samuel Butler.
One prayer more will I make you, if you will grant it. Let not my bones be laid apart from yours, Achilles, but with them, even as we were brought up together in your own home. What time Menoetius brought me to you as a child from Opoeis, because by a sad spite I had killed the son of Amphidamas, not of set purpose, but in childish quarrel over the dice. The knight Peleus took me into his house, entreated me kindly, and named me to be your squire. Therefore let our bones lie in but a single urn, the two-handled golden vase given to you by your mother.
This paragraph perfectly outlines where the two had met and under what circumstances Patroclus had moved into the court of Peleus. There, in his father's court, we know that Achilles was tutored by Phoenix, king of the Dolopians. We know this from the Iliad, Book 9, in Butler's translation, where Phoenix addresses Achilles.
It was I, Achilles, who had the making of you. I loved you with all my heart. For you would eat neither at home, nor when you had gone out elsewhere, till I had first set you upon my knees, cut up the dainty morsel that you were to eat, and held the wine cup to your lips. Many a time have you slobbered your wine in baby helplessness over my shirt. I had infinite trouble with you, but I knew that heaven had vouchsafed me no offspring of my own, and I made a son of you, Achilles, that in my hour of need you might protect me.
We also know that in his father's court, Achilles, even though he was the younger of the two, acted as the teacher of Patroclus and taught him the things he learned from Chiron, such as medicine. Samuel Butler's translation of the Iliad, Book 11, has the following passage. Wounded Eurypylus made answer,
Noble Patroclus, there is no hope left for the Achaeans, but they will perish at their ships. All they that were princes among us are lying struck down and wounded at the hands of the Trojans, who are waxing stronger and stronger. But save me and take me to your ship. Cut out the arrow from my thigh, wash the black blood from off it with warm water, and lay upon it those gracious herbs which, so they say, have been shown you by Achilles, who was himself shown them by Chiron, most righteous of all the centaurs.
Also, it should be noted that there is a version of this story in the Latin sources, the Achilleid, Book 1, where Achilles and Patroclus were under Chiron's tutelage together. There they spent their days growing up, unknowingly waiting to play their parts in one of the most known epics to humanity. When Achilles was 9 years old, Calchas declared that Troy could not be taken without him. So Thetis, foreseeing that it was fated he should perish if he went to the war, disguised him in female garb and entrusted him as a maiden to Lycomedes. Bred at his court, Achilles had an intrigue with Diadamia, daughter of Lycomedes, and a son, Pyrrhus, was born to him, who was afterwards called Neoptolemus. But the secret of Achilles was betrayed, and Odysseus, seeking him at the court of Lycomedes, discovered him by the blast of a trumpet. And in that way Achilles went to Troy. This passage above is from the Library of Pseudo-Apollodorus, Book 3, Chapter 13, Section 8. For those who are not familiar with the story, this passage requires some explanation, For example, Calchas happens to be a seer. Lycomedes was the king of Skyros, which is an island in Greece. When it comes to how Achilles was drafted into the army that was going to set sail for Troy, there are a couple of different storylines we can follow. We will examine 3 different ones: the Iliad by Homer, the Achilles by Statius, and the library of Pseudo-Apollodorus, which we already mentioned above. First of all, what we have to know is that the Achilles and the Pseudo-Apollodorus give similar accounts, but the Achilles, which was written in Latin, dramatizes the event a little bit more and adds some details. Let's take a look at it together.
Soon will I restore thy plains and the fields where the centaurs roam. By this beauty of thine and the coming joys of youth I pray thee. If for thy sake I endured the earth and an inglorious mate, if at thy birth I fortified thee with the stern waters of Styx, I would I had wholly. Take these safe robes awhile, they will in no wise harm thy valour. Why dost thou turn away? What means that glance? Art thou ashamed to soften thee in this garb? Dear lad, I swear it by my kindred waters, Chiron shall know naught of this.
He is softened, and blushes for joy, and with sly and sidelong glance repels the robes less certainly. His mother sees him in doubt and willing to be compelled, and casts the raiment o'er him. Then she softens his stalwart neck, and bows his strong shoulders, and relaxes the muscles of his arms, and tames and orders duly his uncombed tresses, and sets her own necklace about the neck she loves. Then, keeping his step within the embroidered skirt, she teaches him gait and motion, and modesty of speech. Even as the waxen images that the artist's thumb will make to live take form, and follow the fire and the hand that carves them, such was the picture of the goddess as she transformed her son. Taken directly from Mosley's translation of the Achilles, these 2 paragraphs describe in detail how Thetis, mother of Achilles, convinced her son to disguise himself as a girl, and how she transformed her warrior son by teaching him how to walk, move, and talk softly like a woman. Later, it is mentioned in the Achilles that Thetis introduced Achilles to the king of Skyros as his own sister. Later, the Achilles gives an account of how Odysseus goes to Skyros and forces Achilles to reveal his true identity. According to the Achilles, Odysseus goes to Skyros bearing gifts, and he hides a spear and a shield under other gifts meant for the ladies of the court. When the ladies were interested in the other gifts, Achilles noticed the gleaming shield and the spear. Odysseus goes to his side and tells him,
"Why dost thou hesitate? We know thee. Thou art the pupil of the half-beast Chiron. Thou art the grandson of the sky and sea. Thee the Dorian fleet. Thee thy own Greece awaits with standards uplifted for the march, and the very walls of Pergamum totter and sway for thee to overturn. Up, delay no more."
Eventually, when the scene climbs to its climax steadily, a false trumpet blew as if the city were under attack, which made Achilles grab the shield and the spear instinctively. When Aegeates, so commanded, blew a great blast upon the trumpet, the gifts are scattered, and they flee and fall with prayers before their sire and believe that battle is joined. But from his breast the raiment fell without his touching. Already the shield and puny spear are lost in the grasp of his hand. Of course, it goes without saying, Aegeates blew the trumpet on the command of Odysseus. A quick note here, this Pergamum refers to the highest part of the city of Troy and should not be confused with Pergamon in today's Turkey. This ancient city is located south of Troy, and it's not what Odysseus refers to. As we can see, the accounts in Apollodorus and the Achilles are almost the same, with the Achilles being more dramatic and detailed. Now let's see how the Iliad mentions Achilles' draft into the Trojan War in Butler's translation of Book 11.
Odysseus and I were in the house inside and heard all that he said to you. For we came to the fair house of Peleus while beating up recruits throughout all Achaea. And when we got there, we found Menatius and yourself, and Achilles with you. The old knight Peleus was in the outer court, roasting the fat thigh bones of a heifer to Zeus, the lord of thunder, and he held a gold chalice in his hand, from which he poured drink offerings of wine over the burning sacrifice. You two were busy cutting up the heifer, and at that moment we stood at the gates, whereon Achilles sprang to his feet, led us by the hand into the house, placed us at table, and set before us such hospitable entertainment as guests expect. When we had satisfied ourselves with meat and drink, I said my say and urged both of you to join us. You were ready enough to do so, and the two old men charged you much and straitly. Old Peleus bade his son Achilles fight ever among the foremost and outvie his peers, while Menetius, the son of Actor, spoke thus to you. My son, said he, Achilles is of nobler birth than you are, but you are older than he. Though he is far the better man of the two, counsel him wisely, guide him in the right way, and he will follow you to his own profit.
Here in this section we see Nestor, king of Pylos, talking directly to Patroclus. From this passage we understand that the Iliad totally disregards the hiding in disguise story and depicts Achilles as joining the army readily and perhaps even enthusiastically. He even receives final advice from his father before he leaves to join the army. Also worth mentioning, Menetius is the father of Patroclus. In the Achilles, we see a conflicted child and a mother who is trying to protect her son, whereas in the Iliad, we see a youth who almost had one sole reason to exist, the Trojan War. And that brings us to the end of today's chapter. To recap, we explored Achilles' return to Phthia, where he met Patroclus, a young man exiled by a tragic accident who would become his closest companion. We also saw two drastically different myths regarding how Achilles was drafted into the army: Stasius and Apollodorus's dramatic account of a protective mother hiding her son in disguise on the island of Skyros, contrasted with Homer's version of an eager warrior who leapt at the chance for glory. In the next episode, the peace of Achilles' youth is shattered. We set sail alongside the Achaean fleet to the shores of Troy, where gods and men collide in the brutal, legendary crucible of the Trojan War. If you enjoyed diving into the real mythology behind the legends, please hit that like button, leave a comment below, and make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our arrival at Troy. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.